Welcome to the stream, everyone. Happy Frog Day. Also, happy Super Bowl Day for anybody who observes that. Used to be a Super Bowl person, but these days I am non-practicing. Used to have this tradition, actually, of our family getting together to watch the Super Bowl, and my brother and I would get some jelly beans, and that was our way of celebrating it. So, may not be watching the Super Bowl today, but I did get some jelly beans. I'll probably be eating those tonight while I watch Vinny play some football corruptions, assuming that's a tradition that still keeps going. Why are they putting frogs in a bowl? It's like the puppy bowl, you know? It's like the frogs get in the bowl and then they compete to see who wins something. It's like Crab Bucket. It's like you put all the frogs in a bowl and then you turn the heat up and slowly boil them, and the first frog to get out wins or something. I don't know how it works. Somebody needs to get all these thought experiments in check, frankly. Welcome to Frogs. Frogger 2 is something I've been looking forward to for quite a while now. Even had an emote made for it. That's what Skysometric is for. If you want to use Skysometric during the stream, you can either subscribe for money or with your Twitch Prime subscription, or if you don't have money or you don't want to spend it on me because you've got groceries and shit to spend it on, you can use channel points, which you get those automatically just by watching the stream, and you can purchase an emote to use for 24 hours with channel points. So those are entirely free, and you can participate in the frogging, the frogalypse. The afrogalypse. You can participate in the afrogalypse. Why do the frogs have lips? Speaking of subscriptions, something that happened before the stream started is that Apex resubscribed for a month. Thank you very much. Very appreciated. I don't know why I have Pizza Tower music on, speaking to that. I actually couldn't decide what to pick for soundtrack, and I figured Pizza Tower is just good enough. Game full of creatures. Lexi's on a watch streak. 3 streams in a row. I like watch streaks. That's a nice feature that they added. And I don't want to ever pressure anybody to bring their watch streak up because people have lives and shit, but it's nice to see y'all hopping in frequently, and it means a lot. It means a lot. Pizza Tower is never a bad OST to put on, to be honest. It's true, and Pizza Tower is a good game, and it's got vibe music that I'm quite fond of. Vibe music that, I'm gonna be honest, what little I've heard of the Frogger 2 soundtrack so far kind of fits. Kind of same vibes, but Frogger 2 is not as clean and well composed. Bernie says, was gonna say, not a fan of Pizza Tower, but the OST is a good one for most occasions. It's a very very diverse soundtrack with a lot of good sounds to it. Very funky all the way through, of course, but the funk has different ways of reaching your soul. We got frogs in chat. Thank you, friends. So what's my story with Frogger 2? That's what I wanted to talk about today. So, I grew up with Frogger 1, Frogger PS1, which you've seen me play already. You've watched me do the streams, or if you haven't, you've seen the highlights. You know how it went. It was fucking insane and really, really fun. I grew up with that one, but nobody around me did. It's like I was the only person who knew it existed. But everybody around me grew up with Frogger 2, Swampy's Revenge, the game we're about to play today. And I didn't grow up with that one. I never had it. Because I had Frogger PS1 on PC, oddly enough. I keep calling it Frogger PS1, but that's just because it's just called Frogger. There's nothing distinguishing about it in the title. Some people call it Frogger He's Back, but never really stuck with people. So I never grew up with Frogger 2, but everybody around me did. Everybody swore by it. I grew up with the original Frogger PS1. Nobody around me did. Nobody knew what it was, but I swore by it. So this is going to be fascinating to come in and play this for the very first time. What little I know about it, having checked the disc to make sure that the disc works and runs on my Dreamcast, which I didn't even know this game had a Dreamcast port, but that's the one I ended up getting. What little I know about it is that it has some of the weirdest fucking FMV cutscenes I've seen in a game in a long time. Like, you know, for a relatively normal game, it has some wild cutscene cinematography, and I don't know why. And for some reason, Frogger has a double jump. Either we need to amend the list of folks who can double jump to trans folks and frogs, or we need to... they're not telling us something about Frogger. Maybe he doesn't even know yet. Prenny says, so what you're saying is the Pizza Tower soundtrack is both funk and soul music. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Apex says, frog pride. Yes, indeed. Highland says, chemicals in the water, etc., etc. Turning the frogs get... Yes, yes, indeed. Good point. I didn't think about it that way. He must have drank more of the chemicals in the water between Frogger 1 and 2, because in Frogger 1 he didn't have that double jump, and now he does. Maybe he's learned something about himself. He has a girlfriend in the instruction manual, though. Which I also looked over before the stream started, and sadly I don't have scans of it, but for the most part it plays more or less like Frogger 3D. But Frogger also has a more clearly defined girlfriend than just the purple frog from the first game. Whatever, it's, we'll see as much of it as we see of it here soon. This song is so fucking good. Nivette says Frogger is trans, OMG. Maybe. We don't know that yet. Maybe he's non-binary. Wait, no, that is trans. Shit. Here's what I know about Frogger. He green. Wonder if Frogger can swim in water finally. Doesn't seem like it from what little I've seen of the game, no. Speaking of water, I forgot to re-up my water before the stream started. That's okay, we'll figure it out. If I've got to pause for a moment and get some more, it's chill. I really didn't know this game had a Dreamcast port. The original I knew was on PC and PlayStation 1. Frogger 2, I believe, is also on PlayStation 1, but Frogger 1 never came to Dreamcast. It came out before the Dreamcast did. Frogger 2 came out after the Dreamcast, so it came out on the Dreamcast. But Frogger 1 isn't there. Meanwhile, Frogger 1 is on PC, but Frogger 2, I don't think has an equivalent PC port. Unless it does, and I just never grew up with it, which would be very sad. Miss when games came with manuals, right? The only game I have bought in the only new game I have bought in the last several years that comes with the manual is, I bought the collector's edition of Tunic that comes with a physical version of the game's manual, and, for reasons, the game's manual is spoilers, and I couldn't look at it until after I finished the game. So, even then, it was like, yeah, I bought another game that I can't look at the manual for, great. Most games don't even come with them. It's nice that Tunic does. Games with manuals that had unique art were the shit. Frogger 2 is one of those old, like, cheapo black and white manuals, but it's got all these, like, renders of the different characters and stuff, so it's fun and unique in its own way. And I have the manual for Frogger 1 as well, and I think it more or less looks the same. It's black and white with some key art silhouette in the background, and just text and text and text. These days we're lucky if a game has an online manual that you access through the in-game interface. Prenny says there's a lot of, I can't believe this game had a Dreamcast port games. Yeah, right? The Dreamcast was surprisingly good on the developer side, and a lot of people made ported their games to it, usually to great effect. When I picked this up, I also picked up the weird PS1 version of Q*bert, which is kind of like a sister game to Frogger in a lot of ways. Worst version of the game by far. I don't know how to explain. I might even just show you on stream someday. For now, though, why don't we hop into the game? Because we've had quite enough talking. And close things out and switch things over. Highland says Tunic is the manual game of all time, right? So good. Yvette says, I liked constantly reading the Wii Fit Plus and Donkey Kong Country Returns manuals. I had a weird thing for all the Game Boy Advance and GameCube manuals that I had as a kid as well. I would usually, like, take tracing paper and trace over the art to learn a little bit about how to draw those things. And that means that some of my manuals have, like, pencil indentations left in them. Alright, let's turn on the Dreamcast. Click. Crunchy disc loading noises. Prinny says it's so weird though, the Dreamcast should have been way more successful than it was. It's such an excellent console. Like, aren't most Dreamcast ports the best ones? Yes, but that's because at the time, it was competing with the fucking PlayStation 1 and the Nintendo 64. So yes, it was the best version of those it was the best version of those games because the console was just that much better. The CMOS battery on my Dreamcast keeps dying. I need to replace it one of these days. Both of our Dreamcasts, actually, and I learned while setting up for the stream that our other Dreamcast, the discs don't even load, sadly. Grandia 2 is an example where the Dreamcast version is far superior to the PS2 port. Wow, okay. Yeah, it's too bad Sega fumbled the bag with the Saturn and the 32X, and then the Dreamcast happened, and it was too little too late. Which is unfortunate, because the Dreamcast is fucking fantastic. It is loading, right? It is loading the game, right? Oh, tell me we're not starting with technical issues already? Alright, baby, alright. Poor little Dreamcast that's had 20 years life service. Like, I go to put in the time on it, and I think to myself, shh, baby, it's okay. You've been in a coma for 20 years, but it's okay. We're gonna take good care of you now. Let's see if it actually reads the game this time. I know the disc works. Really crunchy disc loading noises. There we go, now it's working. Hasbro changed their logo between Frogger 1 and Frogger 2. Or, not their logo, but their logo animation. Didn't Rayman 2 get a Dreamcast port that people seem to think is really good? I like it. I think it's one of the best versions of the game.